And welcome. Good to see everybody. Let's see, I'm on my own again tonight, but if you guys could put in the chat if you can hear my audio good, because I won't know because I don't have anybody on with me tonight. Lindy has got a work commitment, so she's working on, and I might have Laura might be hopping up here too any minute. But anyways, it's good to see y'all. We're gonna give everybody a minute to get into the live stream here. If you guys would be so kind to put a Q in front of any of your questions, that would be fantastic. And then put in the chat where your guys are tuning in from, and also what you guys are having for dinner. I'd love to see that. How you staying carnivore today? Hey Stevie, good to see you. All right, we got everybody popping in here. Give it just a second. And how's everybody's Sunday going out there? I just finished making a steak and a film and a video. I was giant tomahawk here, and I had to tap out. It was too much too soon. Oh, hey, Laura's here. Pop Laura. Hey, Laura, good to see you.
Hi, everyone.
Your audio sounds good. How's my?
You sound good.
Perfect. Yeah. So this is Laura's or Lindy's stand-in, Laura. So she's filling in for Lindy tonight, and doing fantastic. Let's see. Did you freeze up, Laura? There we go.
Seems to be a little bit jerky.
There you go. You want to tell everybody who you are and where they can find you and your carnivore story, so they know who they're talking to.
Sure. I'm Laura. I live in East Tennessee now. I'm originally from the Chicago area. I got my start in carnivore with SBG 3.5 years ago. So I did their priming and fasting protocol. I came to them because of extreme sugar cravings that I had given myself doing keto treats when I first went ketovore. I was following some influencers who felt that the low glycemic sugars were just fine for everybody. But as I have often said, nothing worked faster on the addiction center of my brain than the artificial sweeteners, and even the ones that are supposed to be good for you and natural. Real sugar had never done that to me. So anyway, I found SBG. They promised that priming would get rid of cravings, and by gosh, it worked. 3 days after I started the program, this 24/7 hour craving for sugar was done with. So anyway, here I am 3.5 years later, carnivore for life. Believe in it so strongly. And I'm not someone who came from a lot of medical issues that needed to be healed, but I've had enough of what we call the non-scale victories to convince me, aside from weight loss and getting rid of the cravings, that this is the place to be.
100%. And tell everybody your age. I think that and nobody can ever believe it. Can you hear me?
Okay. I turned 70 in August of last year. So yes, I'll be 71 this year, as time just keeps rolling through those calendars. But most people do think I'm probably in my late 50s. So I'll take it. Carnivore is aging in reverse as far as I'm concerned also, aside from all the other things that have happened and the healing that has taken place. I feel better now than I did when I was in my 50s, and really when I was in my 40s too. So I'm sold. It's the place to be.
100%. Yeah, me too. It's crazy. I don't even know. I was thinking about this today, because we, Laura's and moderator in SBG Steak and Butter Gang with me and Lindy and Alyssa and, everybody over there at SBG. And, people so many times, because they hear us talk about SBG, they think that we're selling it or that we're getting some, money out of it or something because we're that emphatic about it. But the truth is, we don't get a penny from it. We're just doing it because it completely reversed everything, Yeah. And I was thinking about it today because we talk about priming, and when we're talking about priming, everybody just wants us to put it in the chat, or they want us to just say it in a 20-minute video. And the reality of it is priming is, is a format of eating to get nourished, but it's also community. I really think priming is community, because I love what Gary Taub and Dr. Robert Lustig said, that the only way that you can make this high a percentage of this many people on this planet this sick is to change the environment. And I realized lately, what is the reason why priming is half community is because that's how we change the environment. When you're in SBG in that priming community, you're in a whole different environment, that you are creating a healthy environment back to where we started, back to where our ancestors came from before all this obesity and metabolic disease and sickness came up. And that's why people won't understand until they're there. But this can't be said in a chat or a 1 hour video, because there's too many nuances to it, and it's really a process, and it's simple to understand, but it's not easy because there's too many nuances and too many things you guys are going to go through. And so I don't know, that was just on my mind today, because I've been just looking at the comments and the last video for the 90-day challenge that's coming up on Tuesday. By the way, if you guys aren't aware, come check it out on Tuesday. We're doing the kickoff for the new 90-day priming challenge. But I was thinking about it today, because when I was looking through the comment section, everybody just keeps asking the same thing. Please tell me what priming is. You can't put it in a chat section. It's not going to fit in a comment. You're not going to grasp it in a comment. I wish it was that simple, but it shouldn't come as any surprise that regaining our health and changing the entire environment that big food and big pharma has destroyed for profit is not something you can just do in a 20-minute video or a chat section and just transfer that information out there. It is a process, and you need a community, and you need to be in that environment. So just throwing that out there again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. You do. You have to, we can briefly say it's becoming nourished for the first time in your life, but there's so much more to it than that. And as Todd said, community especially. It's so important, because let's face it, as a friend of mine says, we're out there flying our freak flag, doing this carnivore diet, although I'm thinking it's becoming a little less freakish every week, as you are hearing more and more about it on social media, and more and more people are coming up to me and saying, hey, I hear you eat carnivore. And it's like, well, yeah, where'd you find that out anyway? So more and more it's becoming a mainstream phrase, and mainstream for people to know about it. So
Absolutely. Yeah, it's getting, being healthy and getting your life back and being off of medications and not being addicted to food is becoming, oddly enough, less and less controversial. It's becoming more the norm, that people are starting to wake up, because they're starting to see that the hyper palatable, highly processed crap in the store that we've been fed as being healthy, and all with all these labels on it and these little fad marketing gimmicks on it. People are seeing through that now, and we're understanding that we've been addicted to food on purpose for gain and for money, and everybody's waking up to that now, and it's awesome to see. Let's see here. We got a few questions in the chat. Start popping these up. Does anybody find sauces that are supported to go with meat too sweet?
supposed to go with meat.
Yeah. I don't know what he means by.
I can't say I do many sauces, although what's the one Béarnaise sauce I have made to go with steak. And oh my gosh, there's another one that's very similar to that. And I still enjoy them. I don't find them super sweet. I find just the taste of cream very sweet, heavy whipping cream very sweet. And I think most people would agree with that once they've been carnivore for more than a year anyway. So if any of the sauces are made with the heavy cream, sometimes that can give you that odd sweetness. But I do find that the longer I'm carnivore, the more pure I want to just eat my food. Tonight, because I'm trying to get in some extra fat today, I actually took a wedge of brie and melted it in a little cast iron frying pan and just added the drippings from a New York strip in there, whipped it up, and that was my sauce. And it definitely was not sweet, but it's really tasty and just kind of a nice change of pace to go with your steak.
For sure.
We're not all like
Yeah.
Tom smokes every piece of meat and finishes it with on the charcoal and does all this great barbecue stuff. So some of us, yeah.
I was just finally got my tomahawk off the grill and was just eating that before the live stream started. Yeah. Sauces, I don't know. I feel like, other than, I mean, if you're trying to add fat, that's one thing, right? Like, so if you're adding tallow as a dipping sauce, or if you're adding egg yolks, like you say, those are good. But if you're doing it because you need the meat to taste better, I think you messed up the meat. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, there's better ways of cooking the meat if unless you're trying to fix something. So I don't know. I just don't do sauces. I don't trust them, and sauces are dangerous, especially if it's tasting sweet, because that's what I was going over. I didn't know what you mean that we're supposed to go with meat. Pretty much sauces and condiments I stay very, very clear of on Carnivore, because there is so much hidden crap in there that they are a nightmare, for me anyways, unless you're making some real clean Carnivore sauces, for sure. All right.
Another great dipping sauce I use for meat is just 1 egg yolk and a tablespoon of butter whipped together. And then you can dip shrimp in that, or you can dip your bites of meat if you want something like that. And it's super simple and just great nutrition. No garbage.
For sure. Let's see here. Which beef cuts are best to make tallow bites? I'm not sure what you mean. You mean which beef cuts are best to get the fat trimmings? Is that what you're thinking? Or I'm curious what you mean by tallow bites. Yeah, I don't know. Because there's a couple ways to think about that. If you're trying to get the most fat off of a cut of beef, I mean, I would just go to the butcher and tell them you want their fat trimmings, because that's the easiest way to get a bunch of fat trimmings if you're trying to make your own tallow to make tallow bites. Or are you asking like pemmican and you want to know what cuts of beef you can dehydrate and turn into powder or sprinkle on top? I don't know. Let us know in the chat if you could give us a little bit more information on that. I'm curious. Okay, there we go. Yes, rendering fat to make tallow bites. I got you. I mean, best. That's a rough one, because let me just tell you, the thing that I get the most fat off of is the Primal 22-pound rib roast from Costco, the 7-bone rib roast from Costco, the Primal cuts. There's a ton of fat on them, but I mean, that's an expensive way to get fat. Those things are, where I'm at, those roasts are $230 or something each. That gets the most, but I also can just go down to any one of my butchers here and get all the fat trimmings all day long for $2 a pound, $2 to $3 a pound. So I would do that. What do you think, Laura?
I do get ribeye trimmings from one of our grocery stores. We don't have a butcher right in my area, but one of our grocery stores does cut some of its own meat. And whenever they're having a ribeye sale, and I obviously see that in the paper before it starts, I will call and ask them to save me just ribeye trimmings. And they'll do that, and it's usually 89 cents a pound. So I'll go in and they'll hand me 4 or 5 of these big trays full of ribeye trimmings. And that's what I melt down to make tallow. And then just put it in canning jars. It goes in the freezer or the refrigerator, and it's there forever until I need it again. I'll cook the trimmings down to a certain point. Once I have enough tallow rendered for what I want, I do that. And then the rest I'll cook down to eat on the side with the steak. Fat trimmings crisped up. They're so good. But yeah, that would make great tallow bites. Just ribeye trimmings.
For sure. Let's see. She also says she joined the 90-day challenge today. That's awesome. Congratulations. We will see you.
Good. Awesome.
We'll see you in the Zoom calls.
Tuesday.
We'll see you at kickoff. Yeah. All right. And Nina, I had spice meat last night at a benefit dinner, itchy and knees ache today. Yeah, for sure. When might it go away?
Yep.
Well, my experience, and I've done that a few times, not from the spicy meat, but when I was in Hack Your Health in Austin, I had a piece of lettuce that made my left knee swell up like it wanted to explode. And that lasted about 7 days, 8 days. And it just kind of sucked. But I've had other little flare ups last about 3 days. So I'm going to have to, 1 second, I have to buy off my dog because she came for the bone. There you go. Here's the bone. She smelled it, and I knew she was coming in here. That's why I brought that bone in here because I knew she was gonna hijack me during this live. For me, it's about 3 to 8 days. How about you, Laura? When you ever have a flare up or any of that?
I have had black pepper does it to me.
Yeah.
So I quit using it on pretty much anything. But if I get it on some meat and I don't know it, I feel it in my right knee immediately. And yes, it takes a good 4 or 5 days for that discomfort to go away. All of a sudden, I feel like I need a knee replacement. But it does go away when I go back to eating just my salt on my meat.
100%. Yeah, definitely, definitely goes away. I too can't do black pepper. All right. Where's the beef? Says, let's go, folks. Start the 90-day challenge June 3rd. Absolutely. Let's do it. We've already got a huge sign up, and we'd love to see this thing be huge because it's just, it's so much better with a large community. And then, it is absolutely life changing, and it's so great to have that, that good of a start, good of a ground root system, because those people go spread the message, and it's just contagious. It's great to watch. All right. What do we got here? I mean, commercial sauce is found in shops too sweet. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, I think everything on carnivore now, once you do carnivore for a while, like everything's too sweet and too salty and tastes too much like chemicals and plastic. I'm like, did they mix this with hairspray? What is in this crap? It tastes like that, crap that's floating in the air when somebody's doing their hair. It's terrible.
Yeah, honestly, John, I would stay away from any of that stuff. You're not doing yourself any favor by using any of it.
No, not at all. John says again, salsa use leftover meat as they can be dried out. Yeah, for sure. They can be. Make pemmican with those. I'll tell you guys what. My new obsession right now is pemmican. And I ate it. This tomahawk's first thing I've eaten that wasn't pemmican in the last 6 days now because I've been making so many different bars trying to come up with the right recipes that I want. But one amazing thing, I'm feeling so good on that much fat. I've never felt this good or slept this good, but it's because I've never been able to get this much fat in before. This is the only way I've found to be able to get it in. So yeah, I'd make some pemmican out of that dried out meat. You're halfway there if it's already dried out. What do you think, Laura?
Just add some tallow and a little and some salt if it's not salted, and yeah, make some pemmican. It's actually an easy. If you've got ground beef, like you can cook it way down till the point that it gets kind of crispy. Put it in a 9x13 or a 9x9 casserole and pour melted tallow over it, and then chill it, and you've got a pretty easy pemmican bar, and it'll hold up well because it's tallow. If you can also mix butter with the tallow, but then the butter tends to have a different melt point. So I found it's easier to do it just with tallow. And then if you like bacon, you can chop bacon up real fine and throw it in with the ground beef and the tallow. And it makes a real quick carnivore bar type thing that I take hiking. I live near the Smoky Mountains and I hike quite a bit. So that's great to take for my lunch. And it's very satisfying. You're getting your fat, your protein, and you are a happy camper.
Absolutely. Here's a question from Adrian for Laura.
Adrian, you know better, sweetie. But thanks. It's like I got a shill in the crowd there. Thank
Exactly.
you.
She's teeing it up for you. All right.
Yeah, she is. Adrian well knows that I'm 70. We were actually roommates just recently at Meat Stock up here in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, 2 weeks ago. And Adrian is a sweetheart. I love her.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody go check out her channel. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm
Oh,
terrible at making.
oh, I'm sorry. You asked
Go
me
ahead.
before where people would find me, and it's right there, laura.lovinlife. You don't even have to put the .carnivore. It'll come up. You'll find me there under YouTube, Instagram, Threads, Facebook. I'm under Laura Lynch, but I think if you put this in, I pop up too. So
Exactly, Papa Carnivore. He says the butcher asked me why do I want a bag of fat, huh? And he said I told him I eat it, and he thought I was crazy. Yeah, I know. I have that conversation quite a lot right now. But you know what sucks is enough. I mean, it's a good thing, but a pain in the ass too, because now so many people are asking for the fat. They're charging an arm and a leg for it here. You know,
you were
like
saying it.
yeah, exactly. I mean, for grass fed, grass finished beef
Yeah.
fat
The
trimmings,
butcher here always,
yeah, they
yeah.
want five
The
dollars a
butcher
pound
here
for.
always asks me because yeah, I think it's a different guy every time I go. They ask me if I'm getting the fat trimmings to make dog food.
Yeah, for sure. You just tell, hey, at least if you told them that, if they think it's for you, then they're gonna charge you for it. Yeah, it's
Sure.
crazy.
Charge you more for it. Yeah, sorry, Todd. We seem to have a delay in
Yeah,
sound, so I apologize if I've been talking over you.
no problem. Yeah, I noticed that you're having a little internet delay. Let's see. I was just reading through these. It's so hard to get. Yeah. Todd, give us the weekly sugar diet rant. Seems like the hype died down a bit. Yeah, it did. Well, they might be all in a sugar coma now. You know, they might all went into a diabetic coma, and their brains are dying. You know, from the stupidity. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's so sad that they're even doing that stupid stuff. But yeah, it finally died down. It was. I mean, it was a flash in the pan, just like their sugar spikes, right? It just went up for a second, and now everybody's tired of it. They had to push it out so hard, and they have like 5 people that are trying it. And I don't want to sit here and give any of those guys any platform or anything. It's just that here's the fact of the matter, and I'm not going to call out their names, but there's a YouTuber, 2 of them, in fact, that are that snake oil salesman's proteges. And that snake oil salesman is sitting here yelling at Lindy and yelling at me and saying we're in Stall City and all this nonsense because we don't have ribs showing and all this stupid crap. But the fact of the matter is, his 2 proteges that are all over YouTube, they started the same time Lindy did. And the one fella I know started at like 550 pounds the same time Lindy did. And he's now 650 pounds. And you know, he went the wrong way, and Lindy's lost 500 pounds, and they're telling Lindy that her diet doesn't work and carnivore doesn't work because she hasn't lost the last 100 pounds because she only lost 500 pounds in 3.5 years. I mean, that is absolutely insanity. Meanwhile, their great proteges uh, are not losing weight, and yes, they have some guys that were already skinny, already doing incredibly you know, incredibly dangerous and extreme things to try to look like an unnatural person with veins and all this crap going on. And they're using it to do more extreme things to have another extreme result. But as far as it being a healthy diet, I mean, these are the same people that are taking massive amounts of steroids and gear to look unnatural. Like their priority is not health. Their priority is not longevity or having a healthy lifestyle. They want to look a certain way. And it's clear by their message too. Everything that they're saying is not about helping people or health or getting free from body dysmorphia and food addictions. It's actually making it worse. And their whole thing is clickbait. They want to look a certain way because they want a certain amount of attention and they want a certain amount of traffic because that's their livelihood. I mean, it's pretty sad, but this fella is getting trapped in the middle of it. Why he's listening to this 5'7" loudmouth just moron screaming the camera over and over again, and has been for like the last 4 years, when Lindy knows what it's like to be in his shoes. Lindy knows what it's like to walk that walk. So do I. And why is listening to a guy that's never been in his shoes? I have no clue. That guy has everything to gain by having a bunch of puppets run around and play his game with him. And, we're just trying to tell him how we actually got free, how Bill Knott in Alaska got free, how people are getting healed. And so I don't know. He's going to kill that poor guy with his nonsense advice and keeping him all strung out on this stupid diet. It's none of his crap has ever worked for him. And meanwhile, me and Lindy are just staying carnivore because we're free from the nonsense and we get healthier and we heal every day and we don't have to fight it. It's absolutely crazy. Let's see.
There was that one picture you shared, Ted, that in the up in the WhatsApp chat. I think it was you that posted it in the WhatsApp team chat, and it was a guy showing his before and after on the sugar diet. He looked wimpy and unhealthy in the before, and now he looked totally emaciated, and he had ribs showing but no muscle showing. I couldn't believe how sickly he looked. He looked like a concentration camp survivor.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. And I don't know why, but because, there's just some people that think that looking like you're like, you've been starved to death or you're, going through stage 4 cancer or something terrible, that's a good look because you're so skinny, because this propaganda has pushed, restriction and lean so crazy. But I'll tell you what, if everybody looked like those dudes on the sugar diet, our species wouldn't have existed. We wouldn't went through a famine and survived it. We wouldn't have got here. It's like, it's just crazy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And then there was the one fruitarian. I just saw a post maybe a week ago. I believe she was in Russia, and she was 36 years old or something. She died because from malnourishment. So who in this day and age dies from malnourishment, Yep. Except unless you're doing stupid things like the sugar diet. But they said she was doing the sugar diet, but before that she had been fruitarian.
Right. I know. And it's just ridiculous. And it's a hard sell because carnivore is be okay, really healing carnivore is be okay with gaining some weight at first. Eat the nourishing food, eat through the cravings, reestablish your hormones and your freedom from food addiction and disordered eating, and work on some of your body dysmorphia issues and work on some of your stuff where you're still stuck in this fear-mongered mindset that animal protein and animal fats are going to kill you and that restriction is healthy, right? You got to work on all that stuff at once. But when you finally do and you finally get free from that, you will wake up and your mind will no longer be in, is today the day that I fall off the rails? Is today the day that I'm going to eat something or do something that's going to set me backwards? That's going to make me lose all my progress. Can I white knuckle another day through another stupid diet, And that goes for all of them. And that none of that is not carnivore. There's people that still are in carnivore that are doing that because they're restricting. And that's why I love SBG so much in the priming protocol that helps you completely heal from that and nourish your body and then get completely away from that. And only in nourishing carnivore can you go, I'm hungry and that's okay because my body needs some fuel. My body needs some building blocks. You go eat and you get better. And your mental issues go away. Your anxiety goes away. Your cortisol goes down. You sleep better. And when you are that person, your body will drop the weight and get lean. You'll get the body that you really want, and it will be sustainable and effortless in the long run because you'll be free from all that stuff. It's so ridiculous. I just filmed a video I'm going to put out, but I was eating this tomahawk and it just tasted delicious. And I was sitting here going, and they call this restrictive. This is supposed to be restrictive because I don't get a rice cake and a Pop Tart and then have to go to bed crying because I had too many sugar macros or too many calories or something stupid. Wake up full of cortisol. It is just the most freeing thing. I get to eat tomahawks and ribeyes and I get to not care or feel bad about it. And I get to sleep like, sleep great and wake up feeling awesome. You guys have got to try it. Come and hang out with us for just 90 days. It is $30 a month. I get nothing for saying that. Laura gets nothing for saying that, but you'll be a different person in a different mindset in 90 days.
It's true. Very true.
For sure. I found out if I pack all the mundane that I'm going to buy, okay, I got you in the store, my cart. Then I ask the butcher for the fat. A lot of times I got you. Just give it to me because he sees I'm buying the meat. That's awesome plan. Yeah, show them that you're a paying customer. Unfortunately, that's not working for me. they they still charge me up the wazoo. But does that work for you, Laura?
Um, it's funny because where I go to buy the ribeye trimmings, I don't really buy meat there. I just go in for the ribeye trimming. But the young men back there cutting the meat, they think it's so fascinating when they find out why I want it that they are just happy to give it to me. So it's like talking to one of my kids or grandkids. I'm like, oh, this, yeah, I eat this. And they're like, you eat that fat? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, do it this way. It's so good for you. And it's good for this and it's good for that. So, like I said, it's been a while since I've bought any. I'm curious to see. I'm almost finally out. It's been, I gosh, probably 6 or 8 months because they gave me so much the last time, so many of these big shrink wrap packs of it that I was like, okay, I can't do it any more of this for a while. So I'm finally out and I'm going to have to, next ribeye sale, I'll have to ask and see. So I'm curious to see if it's gone up, but maybe not in my area like it has in Montana. You said Montana's got some pretty uppity ideas anyway these days, right, Todd?
Yeah, they do. That stupid movie Yellowstone ruined it for us for sure. Now they all think we got Kevin Costner money. It's nonsense, but yeah, for sure. No, it's definitely a little bit. The secret's out for sure. I think they want $5 a pound for the beef trimmings for the grass fed beef trimmings. It's pretty crazy. So
Yeah.
for
And
sure.
mine are not grass fed. They're just regular ribeye trimmings. It's not grass fed and grass finished or anything. So I could see where maybe the grass fed would be more expensive, but honestly, $5 a pound.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit ridiculous. Isn't that funny how things got so expensive over a short period of time here? I mean, you used to be able to buy some pretty
Mhm.
good meat for $5 a pound. Now you can't hardly get the scraps. It's crazy.
Right.
And
It's true.
Anthony says, "Does the
Yes.
community accept people with autism? I'm kind of a quiet guy. Absolutely, you'll fit right in. I'm definitely I'm definitely on the spectrum myself, so no worries." Uh, the duck food diet. Yeah, exactly. Rick calls everything, all the garbage and the sad diet for the animals. That's what the ducks eat. There we go. I found out if I put, oh yeah, we did this one by before take the butcher. Yeah, or same thing. Yeah, fill it up and do it. Just
Yeah.
making sure, trying to catch up a little bit.
He was editing his comment, I think,
I gotcha.
or Karen.
What are you eating now, Todd? Salt, pepper, poppers. Uh, Salt, pepper, poppers. No, no, that's oh, I see what you're saying. Instead of the deal, put salt on the pickled jalapenos I have. No, I really, it's weird. The longer I do this, the less that I care to salt or season anything, and the more that I don't mind just the way the meat tastes. But I use a lot of smoke, and I am putting a little bit of salt in the pemmican right now, but it's very, very little. I keep having to back it off. So I don't know, but and I can do white pepper as well. If you're like me and Laura, I found. Can you do white pepper, Laura?
Yes, white pepper doesn't bother me, and cayenne pepper doesn't bother me. Just black pepper I have issues with.
So that's
And
confirmation because
I've heard that from other people too.
yeah, I have the exact same thing. So I
Hmm.
can do white pepper, and I've never tried cayenne pepper dried, but I have Tabasco, which is just salt, vinegar, and cayenne pepper. So yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah. One of the seasonings I'm kind of obsessed with is Slap Your Mama. I don't know if any of you
I've
have ever
heard it.
heard of
Yeah,
it. It's great on pork belly. Have you? Well, the name itself is just like a hoot. So, but anyway, it's usually made with black pepper, but they do sell it. I had to order it from Amazon because I couldn't find it in the stores, but they do sell it made with cayenne pepper instead. So I've substituted that with the cayenne, and I love it on pork belly. It's good on fish, shrimp. It gives it that kind of Cajun taste and a little. I do still like seasonings. I don't like things like garlic powder, and obviously a lot of seasonings I won't use if they have any sugar in it. But if they're clean, I do still enjoy seasonings on some things.
absolutely. I I've been just using smoke as my seasoning. That's kind of been my hack lately. Let's see here. I lost it, Rick. I had a comment and I lost it. Rick's because Rick said gaining weight. How? Well, because carnivore puts on muscle. Mostly carnivore puts on denser, lean body mass, and people mistake it for you know for fat or whatever because they're like they don't understand that if you just if somehow making that scale say a lower number made you healthy, well, shoot, I'd just go over there and lop off an arm and throw it in there, and I'd be doing fantastic. But the truth is, the calorie restrictive diet model doesn't work because you're losing lean body mass and you're starving your body, and so your body just is like, oh well, we're in a famine. This isn't good because we're eating up muscle and bone and collagen. So as soon as you go back to eating again, one, you're hungry all the time, you're low on energy, your metabolism slows to a crawl, and you just feel terrible, and your mental health and mental energy is terrible. But then as soon as you go back to eating, it just says, oh, well, not only are we going to pack all this on, we're going to put an extra 10% on because that was a close call. We lost a lot of lean body mass. So why carnivore is so awesome? You have to be okay with gaining a little bit of weight. And some people, not all people do, but a lot of people do. They gain a little bit of weight, but they don't understand that it's healthy weight. And then underneath, you start, the more healthy weight you put on, the faster the unhealthy body fat and leaner you'll become later because that muscle and that lean tissue and that healthy body will just start wearing it out. It'll just absolutely run through that stored fat.
Absolutely. I actually lost doing keto for about 6 months. I lost 17, 18 pounds really fast. And then I started with SBG and the priming protocol, and I put on maybe 5 to 7 pounds, which then went away. And then I continued to lose. But it's funny because and that was all maybe within the first year, probably the first 8 or 9 months. But what has happened is my weight has gone up, but my size has gone down 2 or 3 sizes. So I don't look at the weight and I don't look at I look at the scale periodically, but I don't worry about what I'm seeing there because I know I have a lot of muscle, especially for a 70-year-old woman. And I don't worry about what the weight says because, I know I have now gone down 4 sizes. So since the start, and I'll say qualify that and say since the start with Ketovore that I did, like I said, 6 months before I went carnivore, but it's been 3.5 years carnivore since then. And the sizes have continued to drop, even though the weight may have crept up a little from the initial loss in the first 6 to 8 months.
Absolutely. Happens every time or we see it almost every time people gain some weight, but it's good weight. And then when their body's ready to dump it, it comes off faster than any weight I've ever seen. And what's left is muscle dense lean body mass that's helps you, just makes you stronger, gives you more endurance, just way healthier. Let's see. Where's to be fast, Todd? What's your focus for remaining 2025? Are you priming or on a fat loss phase? No, I'm always on a fat loss phase in summer, and I'm always kind of on a just a healing and bulking, seems like, in the cold months. But right now, my focus is it's crazy, but last winter was a little bit rough, or this winter, I should say. No, last winter. It depends on winter of 2024. Our winter goes into the next year, but was rough. And it was because I oxalate dumped, and then I got really inflamed, and I gained weight during the winter from because I wasn't sleeping, full of cortisol. All this nonsense happened, and then I ended up with sciatica from it, and I was a little bit annoyed, but it was kind of a blessing because a couple things happened. My body really focused on healing because it was trying to heal that oxalate stuff, and it was trying to heal that nerve. But also, I started doing prioritizing fat because my C-reactive protein was high from the sciatica, and that led me down this road to figure out that I personally have a hard time getting fat in much past 1.5 to 1. It starts getting really difficult to get it in because I'm not a big fan of butter. I don't mind tallow so much, but even that has its limits. And really breaking down the fat macros on ribeye, and especially my downfall was I was eating too much New York strip steak, which is very, very lean. That's not even 1 to 1. It's below 1 to 1. It's like 0.6 to 1 fat to protein. So you really have to add the fat into that. And so I started playing around with pemmican. And since I've been doing that, I've been getting a 2 to 1 fat to protein ratio. It's the only way that I've found it easy to get that in. And I've just really been enjoying it because it's so nice to make these bars. And then you only have to eat that. Like, I eat 7 of these bars that I make a day. That gives me 200 grams of protein and 400 grams of fat. And I've never felt better in my life. And my weight was kind of stalled. And then last couple of days, just like we've been saying, like yesterday or this morning, I woke up 11 pounds lighter. I'm not even joking. In a 24-hour period, my body just dumped 11 pounds. And obviously it's water and whooshing and whatever. But so it's even having that effect that way. And the 1.5 to 1 was doing the same thing. So I've been making these guys, and they are fantastic, and they're not that hard to make. So I'm actually fixing to do probably a 90-day pemmican only challenge, but I'm really putting some thought into it because, like Coach Alyssa at SBG thinks that you just having dehydrated meat would you'd be missing too many macronutrients in the meat from cooking it. But we're looking at it, and I think we can replace that with just a little bit of raw liver every day. So I think I can substitute that for raw liver. Also, I think I can save most of those if I go from dehydrating to freeze drying. So I'm probably going to start freeze drying these things. And then I've just ordered a bunch of bones for bone marrow because what I want to do is make a grass-fed tallow whipped bone marrow mixture for the pemmican with freeze-dried grass-fed beef and a little bit of freeze-dried liver. And I think that'll be about the most healthy little concoction you could possibly come up with that is so healing. And so that's what I've been playing with. And I am feeling pretty dang fantastic, to be honest with you. And so that's going to be my next goal. It's super satiating. I ate just this for the last 5 days, just 7 bars a day. In fact, I should present those. And I was never hungry one single time. I was so satiated, it was ridiculous. But on top of it, the one weird thing is I went to eat my tomahawk, and it was hard to get a pound and a half of meat down, which, if you guys know me, that's pretty crazy. But these are the little pemmican bars, and that's just I've round steak in there that I dehydrated and then pulsed into powder, and then that's grass-fed tallow, and then I take that grass-fed tallow and I put it on the Traeger and I smoke the tallow, so the tallow smoked, and then I've been finishing it with Malden salt, and that's been pretty tasty. So if you guys There's a lot of tricks to it, but once I get it all worked out, I'll be talking to you guys. But if you guys want to give that a try, it is by far the best way that I know to get a 2-to-1 fat to protein ratio. So I was going to throw that out for you guys. Whoops. All right.
We've been
Alrighty.
getting a play-by-play of all of these different methods Todd's trying to come up with to make this bar perfect. And then, of course, one thing leads to the next thing, and he decides now he needs to have smoked bone marrow, and then he needs this. And anyway, his mind never stops working, let me tell you.
Well, that's the ADHD brain. That's what that is. That just takes you down a rabbit hole, and then I don't know what the link to ADHD and OCD is, but there's a strong causal link, I would think there. But the fact of the matter is that I can't. I start going down this road because I'm seeing just you hear it all the time, but until you see it around you, and part of this is that I'm Dr. Phil talks about this all the time, that the magic Goldilocks zone for carnivore seems to be about the 3 to 4 year span, where all the healing seems to really go crazy in about the 3 to 4 year span. Like things really come around, and I'm just coming into that 3 year span right now, and I'm starting to see a lot of healing, and really good progress and feeling really good. But also, my brother is eating a lot of this high fat pemmican as well, and he's healing up autoimmune and MS as well, and it's having huge benefits for him. And uh, Coach Alyssa is also seeing the same thing with her gut health and her autoimmune and lupus. So there's some really healing stuff that goes on if you can really keep the fat that high, because it's like therapeutic carnivore, but it's so hard to get 2-to-1 fat to protein. It's like if you really start adding up the fat, and it's not that hard to keep it in if you're eating, I don't know, 60, 80 grams of protein a day. But if you're trying to hit like a gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight, and then try to eat 2-to-1 fat on top of that, it's like, good Lord, it's so hard to get in. I have just such a hard time doing that. Like, for instance, what I was doing before to get 1.5 to 1 fat to protein in and hit 200 grams of protein a day, I was eating so basically getting 200 grams of protein and 300 grams of fat was the most that I could get. That was basically a pound of ground beef, 8812, and it was 40 egg yolks and a can of cod livers every day. And it was all that I could do to get that down because it's so satiating. And now these pemmican bars, that's basically 7 3-ounce pemmican bars, does the same thing. So I just eat them 3 times a day, and I basically have 3, 2, and 2. And so what in a meal, I'm only having to get down 6 ounces. They're very palatable, but you feel absolutely amazing if you can consistently get that down. And I think once I can once I can freeze dry them and keep the macronutrients in there, I think that that'll be a game changer. I think that there'll be even more healing. So really looking forward to that. But I'd like to see you guys give it a shot and see what you think. But I'm definitely gonna give it a 90-day shot, and if not, probably 90 into 120 days. I think I'd like to see what 6 months of that, of just eating those and maybe substituting with raw liver. But with the stem cells and the collagen that are in the raw bone marrow that you whip, if you whip that and you fold it in, kind of like you're, I don't know, folding in something to egg whites or whatever into the tallow when it starts to set up, and you put a little bit of beef, or freeze dried beef liver. I don't think that there's a better nutrient dense food that you can get in a smaller package. I really don't think so. I think it's going to be really interesting to see. I'd really love to see what heals up if I do that for a year consistently and hit my macros. So kind of looking forward to it. All right. Have you heard of raw meat to change the microbiome faster? Well, yes, and that's kind of what I'm talking about with this pemmican as well. Have you heard of that, Laura?
I've heard that it can, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Don't ask me where, but I remember watching either somebody's podcast about that or reading it in one of the forums. And I know when I love steak tartare, and I know that I never have any bad feeling afterwards. Um, I feel amazing the next day. It's like I have more energy. So I just think I don't know. If you can handle it, I think some raw meat in the diet is a great way to go. I also I dehydrate a lot of meat, and I have a slicer, so I'm slicing my own. And I have to like slap my hand to keep doing this. Two for the tray, one for Laura, two for the tray, one for Laura, with the raw meat. So it becomes very palatable once you start eating it, and you really do enjoy it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy when when I before carnivore I would liked my meat, medium well, and then I liked it medium rare, then I liked it rare, then I liked it blue, and now I'm pretty much slicing up raw meat and eating it while I'm cooking a steak. you know? Just because it all tastes delicious now. My body just wants it. But yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for raw meat. The reason I know
It,
that the sugar diet is not going to last is because I find it difficult to find any carnivore fails on YouTube, but I find sugar diet fail videos all over YouTube. See you in Montana, Todd. Absolutely, that's 100% real. I mean, think about, could you possibly live consistently manipulating your metabolism with sugar for like 10 years? Just stretch it out to even 10 years. Do you think that you could actually do that for 10 years and live on that crap for 10 years without any kind of repercussions or making it sustainable? And then just go down that same thought process and think if you could do that with bacon and eggs and steak and hamburger and, you know, animal products. And it's so obvious long term what is actually real and sustainable. And here's what drives me nuts is the same people sit here and go, there wasn't that much beef available to do that. So you guys are crazy to think that you could live off of that much meat on the carnivore diet. And you couldn't find all this fat to render down into tallow. That wasn't sustainable and available for our ancestors. And I'm like, but apple juice was, but bananas were. Where were people getting bananas? You know what I mean? At midnight when they're, it's just, it's absolutely nuts. Their arguments are so contradicting and so stupid. If they only used any of their own logic, and then meanwhile, sure, they're trying to do this thing to manipulate their metabolism, but what about all the freaking lactic acid and all the inflammation that they're going to gain and all the damage that they're doing with spiking their insulin? And what happens when they finally get so insulin resistant that they can't bring down their blood sugar and everything that they eat backfires and turns to fat? What happens? It's like it's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. But they're out there to get clicks because it's way better, easier sell, right? To say, no, you don't have to do anything hard. You don't have to restrict anything. You don't have to do whatever. You just have to eat all the sugar that you're addicted to. They're basically telling you you get to take your drug at copious amounts and there's no pushback if you just stay away from that, dangerous building blocks of protein and amino acids that your body needs to live on. It's like the craziest thing I've ever seen. Oh, there you go. This one's for Laura.
Laura, you look wonderful, almost 73. No muscles, health loss is slow but encouraged. Yes, it'll happen. Stick with it, truly. When your body feels safe and nourished, it'll allow the changes to happen. And I don't care what age you are, you can start getting muscles. So
For sure.
just pick up some light weights, pick up something body weight in your house, even if it's a you know, a couple bottles of water. You can do it with anything. When during COVID, I was using gallon jugs of water to lift with because I didn't have any weights where I was locked down, and I would just fill them as I needed to adjust the weight. So you can do it with anything. Body weight yoga, that's a great way to start, and stretches everything out, makes you feel wonderful too. So movement, just start movement and it'll come. And stick with your carnivore too. You will get there.
100%. All right, so I've got a few of these asking about,
and thank you.
For sure, about the videos. I have not made one yet. Let's see. I have not made a video yet, but I will once I have it dialed in to where I want it. And it's very close. Every way I've made it has been super palatable, and it works. It can just be better. The first one was pretty good, but you gotta dehydrate it to a certain point because otherwise the tallow rehydrates the meat, and then it tastes like it has the texture of little rubber bands or something in there. It's not a good texture. So I got over that. But once I get all the details worked out, I'm going to put it together, and then I'll give it to you guys. And you can either choose to make it, and then I might start making these at some point and selling them at a decent price, like at a affordable price, because I am using a lot of stuff to make them, and I realize that not a lot of people are going to want to do what I'm doing, and you don't have to do what I'm doing either. You can do it any way that you want to do it and make it workable. I'm just trying to. Well, here's what I'm thinking. My mom, I'm trying to get them down her as well, and the first thing I said, she goes, "These are so like anybody that's ever done pemmican, and tasted it, you're not going to eat it and be like, this is the greatest thing I've ever tasted in my life, because you're eating a whole bunch of fat and dry, beef powder basically. And so, no, it's not going to taste like a steak dinner, and it's not going to taste like, barbecue or something. But the idea about pemmican is to make pemmican taste the most palatable you can, where you enjoy it a little bit or even a lot. And it's, you're not going to get palate fatigue or get meat aversion or fat aversion while you're doing it. And that's what these do. And and they're working very good for me in that fact. But I want to make it better because you're already fighting an uphill battle when you're trying to get people to eat them that come from a standard American diet palate, where they're looking for over the top, hyper palatable, MSG and sugar and salt and all this stuff. And then you give them this, they're going to think it's the worst tasting thing. But if you can make it taste reasonably good and they do it long enough, I'm addicted to these things. I love how they taste now. And it's really opening up my appetite for fat. And what I've even noticed is by having this much fat, because that's a lot of fat, 200 grams. I mean, I'm pushing, what is that? Something like 3,600 calories a day just in fat in these bars. And it's opened up my palate for fat as well, because it's really healing my gut. It's pretty amazing. Hey, Caleb, everybody go check out Caleb's channel as well. Yeah, it's really good, Caleb, and it's really been helping. Oh, shoot. Sorry, I missed your super chat, Caleb. Am I missing any other super chats? I better go check. I'm falling apart on my stuff.
I think that was the only one.
There we go. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, and I'd like to figure out how to do it. Obviously, I gotta play with the amounts, because right now I have them right now with no labor costs, and I'm really not even figuring in the cost of the pellets and stuff. And I can also tell that my Ninja food processor is not going to last very long. Like, it's a lot of work for that little dude to mince that up. So there's going to have to be commercial equipment and stuff later. But right now, without counting labor or really counting in any power or any kind of wear and tear on any of the equipment that I have for replacement, or the wood pellets or any of the wrapping or packaging, I'm getting those down to about $4.50 for a 3-ounce bar, which is 30 grams protein and 60 grams of fat. But but that's with grass-fed, grass-finished tallow, salt, and grain-finished high round. So there's going to be a cost increase when you get it with grass-fed finished beef. If you go there, that'll be a little bit extra. And then the bone marrow is going to add extra too, but you don't need a ton of it. It's not going to be 1-to-1, but bone marrow is fairly expensive. But that's why I want to see if I can get the cost back down by not buying pre-made grass-finished tallow and start to make it myself. So we'll see where we can get it. But at the end of the day, right now it's costing me $4.50 times 7. So that is what would that be? That's $31.50 a day to eat all day. And so that's less than what I was spending on ribeyes and stuff, but it's way more healing. And I realize that might sound like a lot, and maybe it is where you are. I know that there's big difference in places. Some people that's not a bunch, some people that's a lot. But with the money that I save on my prescription drugs that I don't take anymore, and the money that I save on all the snacks that I don't buy anymore, and the daily coffees that I don't buy anymore, and all that stuff, it more than pays me back in the long run. So I'm very happy with it. All right. And we're going to do a rapid fire round to get through these questions. It says, how are you smoking the tallow? I just take, right now I'm using Fatworks 14 ounce grass finished tallow jars. And I take those and I put like 6 of them in the smoker with the lid on while the smoker's heating up. And I heat it up to 165 for the super smoke setting. And that heats up the jars to where I can pour it out. And then I take these big cooling racks trays, and I just dump the tallow out in these flat trays so that there's more surface area. And then I just let the smoke roll over it for 6 hours on super smoke, which does eat up. I mean, that eats up like, I have to put more tallow in at once because I'm eating up like $10 worth of smoke pellets in that amount of time. And I'm only doing, 6 14-ounce jars where I'm kind of wasting smoke. I should fill that thing up with multiple racks so that I could get all this, get as much smoke to absorb and as much fat as possible, because I could do better. I'm wasting some smoke on that. But it's incredible. It really does infuse the heck out of it when I do it. So doing this pemmican challenge. I'm not. Todd say I always plan on doing this pemmican challenge. I have quite a few in the freezer. I'm just going to eat my macros in this homemade pemmican that I'm making, and I'm going to do it for at least 90 days, and I'm going to report back to see how it's doing. But what I can tell you is I'm going in on Tuesday for a blood test, and I'm going to see if my C-reactive protein went down, because I healed the sciatica, by the way. That's gone. And so that was from high fat and from doing physical therapy with a chiropractor. The sciatica is gone, which is a huge blessing, because I went 5 months without sleeping because of that stupid thing. So feeling fantastic, but I can just tell that the inflammation's out of my body. But I'm going to go get that checked with a blood test. But then I'm going to go back in 90 days and see where everything's at again after that blood test. So basically, I'm just going to eat this for 90 days and see where my weight's at. What's crazy is I'm building it is so weird to see how much more muscle you build on high fat with protein than just lean high protein. Like, I'm building so much more muscle right now. It's not even funny. And I was building muscle through the winter, but it's really kind of crazy what's happening. All right. Sorry if I'm looking for cues here. So you guys are doing awesome today. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us too. Hey, Kat says hi to us both. She was my first Instagram follower and my first viewer on my YouTube videos. She's been here since the beginning.
Oh, I love that.
All right. Sorry, guys. I'm reading through the chat here to make sure I'm not missing anybody. I don't have my sidekicks today. that are starting stuff. So, and we're so this is another thing is you know how I've had to change my eyeglass prescription twice now because uh, my stigmatism is healing in both eyes, which is crazy. And the last time I went in was about 11 months ago, and it had healed 3 points. I got to go back in because I can't see crap anymore because my eyes have healed again and my prescription's wrong again, so I can't see crap anymore.
Well, that's certainly a win. I wouldn't complain about, except of
No,
course you have to keep buying new glasses.
for sure. All right. What is going on with Lindy and Michael? I love Todd missing the rest of the game. Absolutely. So Lindy's working for SBG now on like the uh, admin and programming side, and she's making like for this 90-day challenge, she's doing all the behind the scenes work, and so she's got to have it ready for Tuesday. So she is just super slammed right now, but she's doing fantastic. And Michael's he's concentrating on his health because he's got some pretty serious pinched nerve stuff going on in his back. And so it really hurts him to sit in that chair right now and be on video, and he's just not feeling up to it. So he's just taking some time off to heal. And ultimately, you know, we got to remember Michael's in a different spot than we are health wise. And so he's got to take that really serious. And so right now he's just putting his health first, and we're really happy to see that. And we're, you know, praying for him and talking to him and waiting for his back to heal up, but he's got to take that real serious. So, all right.
I think that was the last QQQ. Oh, here's something.
Perfect. I am 5'10", I think. Well, I think I might be 5'11" now that I got straightened out from the chiropractor, oddly enough, because I feel things are taller. Cat, I'm a lifer. Can't get rid of me now. I appreciate it so much. All right. Let me see.
Okay, here's a comment about the your short from yesterday on size.
What are we talking about? Oh, not sure from yesterday on size. I showed my husband. His carnivore just doesn't know it yet. I'm working on it. And he died laughing. Well, you know, we got to keep it light in this community. There's so much so many people out there with no sense of humor. If you like that one, I've got I'm about to set the vegans on fire because I got one coming out tomorrow on some vegan stuff. It's going to be pretty funny. I just like, look, I really don't care if you're vegan, be vegan, but I can't help but push their buttons because they're so much fun to play with in my comment section. Good Lord, they go mad. It's just the funniest thing. So, anyways, I'm taking a shot at vegans tomorrow. Stay tuned. It's going to be fun.
There's been a lot of comments in open chat about that short too, everybody. Quite popular.
Yeah, let me
Great
know if
sense of
you.
humor.
That's well, and my editor wants me to do more funny videos because that is my nature. I've shied away from it because in my personal life, that's all I do is be sarcastic and make jokes. But I shy away from it because I know that my flavor of humor is a little bit, you know, whatever, dogmatic and whatever. It sets people on fire. Man, they get mad. And then the things spiral because when they get mad and they start telling me that they're mad, well, then they're just too fun to play with when they're mad. So things go sideways in a hurry. But I'm going to try to find, I'm probably just going to get canceled is what's going to happen. But I'm going to try to find the line and see if I can ride it for a minute. And then I'll just be buried by the algorithm pretty soon. But I don't know. It'll be fun until it happens. So. All right. Trying for me. All right. Well, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all so much. And I'm going to try to get Lindy and Michael back in here if they would cooperate, but they're too Lindy's too good at her job and she's on high demand right now. And I'm on the back burner now because, well, I don't know. She's loving her day job. So I'm very happy for her. So, but we appreciate y'all. We love y'all and we will see you next time.
Nice seeing everyone, or being here, I should say. I didn't get to see any of you, but nice to be here with Todd. Thanks, Todd, for the invite.
Thank you.